So welcome back. This is another edition of Left versus Right. I'm Anthony Weiner on your left, Dominic Carter on your right. So great to have you along. They say on the board here it's the 8th round of this.
Wow.
Dominic, I have gotten a whole list of advice on how to do this better.
Okay.
I'm going to follow it. First, They said, go to the gym before you get there. Burn off a little energy. They said, hit the decaf in the morning. All right. And the third one is the hard one. The third one is let Dominic finish his thoughts. Now, let's see.
Newsflash.
So I did even better. I've got tea. I worked out this morning. So let's get underway. So great to have you back. Now, have you been getting any advice on these things?
I haven't asked for advice.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing it with you.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And a lot of, I notice, and I listen to your show, a lot of them are like, hit him with so many rights, he's just begging for a left after a while. And so I guess that's the strategy. So a lot of news this week. Let's get right into it. So we didn't necessarily want it, but abortion is back. It's back because a couple of states are going to be having ballots. But more importantly, Donald Trump, as soon as we went off the air on Monday this past week, he stood up and gave a speech that I think he said was going to try to accommodate everyone's interest. How do you think he'd do with that speech? What do Republicans believe going into this election?
I think, well, first of all, you had a great show today.
Thank you.
That's number one. I think Trump was very smart in how he dealt with that. I'm not stating that as a supporter. I'm stating it from a political point of view of he's trying to take the issue off the table for Democrats. Democrats want to focus. With all due respect, Democrats want this entire election to come down to the issue of abortion. And Trump would be a fool to let that happen. As he said, it's the only issue that Democrats have. So I think it was smart. He's not pushing for a national ban, and he says let the states decide it. So if you have Arizona with these crazy laws that he says Arizona officials will fix, if you have Arizona, that's fine, but then you have states like New York that say we're pro-choice, and I'm pro-choice, by the way. We're pro-choice, and things are going to stay that way.
But all he did was restate what's the Supreme Court said. There's no longer a right to this in the Constitution. They said it's up to each state. So if you're in Texas, you have no exception for rape, no exception for fetal abnormality. A doctor can get a life sentence. I don't know what he accomplished. By the way, he's getting hit on his right because he campaigned on the idea, and his whole party believes in this whole idea of life begins at conception. I don't know how you think you're going to get out from under the issue. It's not like people don't care about it. They're going to be going to the ballot. And then he turns around and says, I think they went too far in Arkansas, in Arizona. Well, maybe that's because that law has been on the books since 1864, and just a few years ago, he thought it was fine. I don't think you can get out from under this thing. This is just wrong. I got to tell you, you're a conservative guy. How is it conservative to have people in the legislature making this decision for individual Americans?
The bottom line is this, Anthony. Excuse me. Democrats want the election to be about abortion. And Trump is smart to state his position early, get it out the way, and then they can't. What else do Democrats have to run on? I mean,
okay, well that's the politics of it. But remember, Donald Trump also said he's proud to have put the members on the Supreme Court that overturned this.
Right.
He has given
said that in his
speeches.
speech.
He's given speeches that have said, "I am responsible for the elimination of Roe v. Wade." Listen, whether Democrats like it or not, Republicans they have no idea what to say about the issue. I mean, let's face it. You and I probably both agree. The law that they have in Arizona that dates back even before everything should not be on the books. Even Donald Trump said that. Well, that's states' rights.
Right. And,
right.
Okay, but what's wrong with letting every state decide it?
Because some people are going to have restrictions that not just none. There are a lot of people who are 100% pro-life, and I respect that. But you can't say, okay, it's the Democrats who want to talk about it. I'm sure there are a lot of Republican women who think Arizona went too far. And in Florida, I'm sure there are a lot of Republican women who think it went too far. Don't those women have a right to have their decision be made for them?
I think that it's wise to let each state decide. I really do.
Do you really? You don't think there should be a right that every woman in America gets?
I think that Trump.
I mean, you said you're pro-choice.
Yes, I am pro-choice. I think that Trump was right to say that he will not sign a national ban. I really do.
Now, but isn't the Supreme Court said that a national ban could be done too? Congress can pass this. He's been in favor of national bans in the past. He said 15 weeks.
But you see, if you listen, right? So Democrats, for this show right here, Democrats would like this entire show to be on the issue of abortion.
Hey.
There are other issues besides abortion.
This is a weak one for Republicans, isn't it?
Yes. Based on polling, this is a weak issue for Republicans.
Let me ask you, do you think it goes away now that Donald Trump gave that speech?
Democrats are going to try their best to make sure it doesn't go away.
Right, but it's not going to work because if Donald Trump, the problem is Lindsey Graham is yelling at him, his former vice president's yelling at him. It says, wait a minute, we're the pro-life party. Right. That's the problem. So as much as you want to blame Democrats for this Roe v. Wade was imperfect, but we had peace in this country. Now, because of Donald Trump, we have this issue, and it's going to be a hot one right through 2024's election.
But there are other issues that Americans are going to go to the polls on. Many other issues.
Well, let's get to one of them right now, and it's one that you've been highlighting on your show. It's now taken off like a mini wildfire. We argued about it last week, squatting. So now we're starting to see laws getting passed in places like Florida to make it a criminal offense. Even in New York, there's state legislators who are saying, now, it still seems to me like it's not a heck of a giant issue. There's not a lot of statistics on it, but hold on a second.
Okay.
But now lawmakers and judges are fixing the thing, so problem solved. Can we move on to a different issue now?
Once it's solved and once you stop having squatters, these losers in life trying to literally steal someone's house from under them, once that's resolved, so like for example, the New York City Council bill, which would solve the problem if it's passed. If those on the far left of the council pass it, in which the 30-day residency requirement would become 180 days. Anthony, Democrats want to, I don't want to say you guys, but Democrats, you want to pretend like it's not an issue. You can't just walk into somebody's home and say, oh, I'm the resident here now, and this is my house, and I don't have to pay a thing, and you're responsible for paying all the bills.
Should we give our listeners an update on the Shake Shack receipt?
Sure, go ahead.
Why don't we do that?
But then when you're giving them that update, also give them the update on the 68-year-old grandmother that was attacked by a 16-year-old kid that has 8 arrests, 7 of them for robbery.
Yeah,
that grandmother is still fighting for her life. She's doing better. So if you want to update,
I just want to make sure you made such a big deal about the Shake Shack receipt, Shake Shack receipt,
and what happened,
and the judge in the case, in a civil case, said Shake Shack receipt. That's ridiculous. Threw them out, and they're out. They're out the next day.
Okay, now
that's called the case. The court's working.
No. I'm glad you said that. So who pays the legal bills for that homeowner? Up until this point.
It's a civil case.
No. You didn't answer my question.
Who do you think should pay for them?
No. You didn't answer my question. So the homeowner should be responsible for a $10,000 to $20,000 legal bill because some bum tried to steal their house from under them?
What's the alternative?
The alternative is you increase the 30-day rule to 180, and so these con artists cannot come in and take someone's property with a Shake Shack receipt.
I understand, but it wasn't with the Shake Shack. It wasn't with a Shake Shack receipt.
My point.
No, the point is...
I wouldn't bring that up.
No, the point that I was making is last week I said this is a run-of-the-mill civil case.
No, it's not a run-of-the-mill.
And he went into the court in front of a judge, and the judge looked at the Shake Shack receipt, laughed it out of court, and now the case is solved. Right. I don't see you doing shows and shows about how the system works.
Okay, but your premise is that it was over and done with. That's not what happened. This lasted for a couple of months where the homeowner...
I know, but you made the Shake Shack receipt sound like it meant anything. It didn't.
Of course.
The judge laughed it out of court, as of course he would.
The judge laughed it out of court after it was in every newspaper.
Yes, there you go. It was in the newspaper.
But what happened prior to that?
Look,
it was a case where these squatters were so emboldened, they were suing the homeowner.
I know, but even if your magic law passes that it goes from being 30 days to 120 days or 150 days, it's still a civil matter. Someone's going to have to sue to get them out.
No.
Unless you want to give...
No. If you change the law and it's 180 days, how are you going to scam your way in then? See, with 30 days is easy for these squatters. But if it's 180 days, so for example, let's say this is what always happens. The police are called, right? And your point was that you don't want the police having to negotiate between homeowner.
Right. I said it's a landlord-tenant case, basically.
Right. You want them to fight crime. That was your premise.
Right.
But let's say you can't. The squatter can't now say, "I've been here 60 days. I'm the tenant.
He can still
No,
show a
and
receipt. They still
no,
have
and
to
the
bring him
No,
into
you
landlord-tenant
don't.
court under
No, you
all the
don't.
laws.
No, you don't. No,
Except
you
the one in
don't. No, you
Florida, which apparently we're going to let the cops decide down there. Look, the problem is, again, you accidentally touched on it. You said, oh, not until it was in all the newspapers. No, it was in the New York Post, and a lot of these right-wing and the Fox Newses of the world are trying to make it. This goes when things are going relatively well. Here's what happens. What happens is the right-wing media tries to make the world feel like it's falling. You've gone through this whole show. I'm surprised you're not going to blame Joe Biden for blocking out the sun back when we had the eclipse. I mean, this is still going to be a landlord-tenant a landlord-tenant case. And by the way, overwhelmingly, if you sat in landlord-tenant court, you'd see abusive landlords. You got some abusive tenants. I get it. But I don't believe everything becomes a national emergency and every case you can decide from a studio at WABC.
That's easy for you or I to say. You try being a homeowner where you barely qualify for that mortgage, where you barely make your monthly payments on this property, and now someone
most of these cases are properties that are not under someone's control, meaning no one's living in them yet. It's usually a lot of them. The ones in Florida, 90% of them are investment properties that are sitting empty.
Okay, Mr. Weiner, if let's say you and I bought an investment property together, right? And our finances, we're barely able to make the $6,000 a month mortgage. We have not put in there an extra $2,000 a month for legal fees, and also the fact that $6,000 mortgage
squatting is terrible. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying that I don't believe, one, it's this big national emergency, and two,
it's definitely a national emergency.
We have laws. All you're doing is saying change it from 30 to 120. Fine.
180.
Whatever, 180, whatever it is. If you want to change the squatter laws, and by the way, you better put some protections in there for tenants. Otherwise, you're going to have landlords signing a lease with someone, letting them move in, and then suing them to get them out within 180 days, saying that they're squatting. We have these kinds of disputes all the time. They're called adverse possession cases. All 50 states have laws about them. Only recently, we did not talk about this in February. We did not talk about this in January. You know why? Because Fox News and the New York Post hadn't discovered it yet, and one of our best radio hosts hadn't decided to make this a jihad. And when it goes into court, they tear up Shake Shack receipts and say, that's not proof. You're out of here, and he's out the next day.
Okay, but again, you're starting the argument at the point where the judge dismissed the case. This went on for several months.
Yeah.
That means that while they're being sued, they got to have legal representation.
You want to speed up landlord-tenant court? I'm with you 100%. I think that's a great thing. I think we should invest more money in our civil courts. I don't have a problem with that. You want to have people get representation. Landlord-tenant court in New York, and I don't know, we have listeners all around the country. It's the house of pain. But 95% of the cases are not adverse possession case. 95% is some landlord who sees the value in that property will be much higher if I get the tenant out.
I don't see it that way.
But that's why you have judges. That's why you have juries. That's why you've got to trust that these things, just because we read it on the front page of the New York Post. So, I mean, that Shake Shack receipt turned out not to be a real piece of evidence of anything. The court did the right thing.
It's what embarrassed the judge to dismiss the case.
No, the judge said this is ridiculous, and I'm sure listen, why do you think that the judges are so dumb that they can't figure this stuff out?
I think that the judges politically don't want to offend their bases, and so they sometimes
you keep doing this.
But wait,
these are people of color that have these houses.
Okay, but wait. But let's focus. Democrats say crime, no crime. We're a city of 8 million people, 6 felonies a day.
No, we say look at the numbers.
Well, okay, what about the grandmother?
We say look at the numbers. There's no crime that's a good crime, Dominic. There's not a good crime. They're all bad. Victims, there are going to be victims even if we're down to one crime, but I guarantee if we got down to one crime, we'd be a very happy city, right? So all you can do is take a look at the numbers. If you want to look at these and say, by the way, you've been encouraging me for weeks to talk about these people who are being punched. Right?
Yes.
Women being punched. You want to tell the story?
But the grandmother's even worse.
Okay, the grandmother got mugged. Do you know how many of these random punchings there have been in a city that swells to 12 million during the day?
Go ahead.
14. They're terrible. I hope they never happen. I hope TikTok gets sued for promoting it. It's a terrible thing. Whoever gets caught for doing those things should be thrown in jail. But 14 out of 8 million people is, you know what that is? That's a headline. It's not a real concern for people. But if you're the victim,
Mr. Weiner,
of course it's terrible. I would never want anyone to be punched.
Mr. Weiner, do you have sisters?
I don't have sisters.
Okay. How would you feel if one
Terrible.
of those women...
Stop right there.
were your
Terrible.
sister?
Even if they're not strangers, even complete strangers, I feel
Well,
bad
so-
for.
okay, but
But
yet-
what we're gonna have, we want policy changes, you and me.
Right,
Right. So
right.
saying, okay, should we address the thing that has 14 people, thing that has 18 people? There's all kinds of crime in the naked city. All that I'm saying is that we should do it based on facts.
What we should address is the fact, pardon me, what we should address is the fact that Democrats that run New York State have become tolerant of crime, and that's why I say Democrats are the party of crime.
Well, right now, there's a Democrat mayor, and they're arresting a lot of people. I'm not saying that they're arresting enough. I'm saying that there's something like $130 million of overtime. They're making a lot of arrests. I know that the courts are filled up with people. I know now we had dropped down the number of people in Rikers. Now it's back up again. I get it. Any crime uptick is bad. But I remember a time in this city, you remember a time in this city where crime was 3 times what it is today. Three times.
But
so
why,
I
but
just
why
think
does it
we
have
should
to go,
be...
Why does it have to go back to that?
It should never has to go back. Of course not. That's why I think we should hire more cops. That's why Eric Adams is and Hochul are putting people in the subways. But I think that if we get to this place where we're just hysterical you can always find, if you were the editor of the New York Post, you can always find a story about some outrageous crime. You found one about the 68-year-old grandmother. It's terrible. By the way, the person that did that crime is being held without bail and is going to be charged with secondary assault.
Okay, but...
That's the law.
Okay, but Mr. Weiner, but what we're missing in that is, one, this woman was headed to church Sunday morning, right? In between the time you and I did the last show until right now, she was headed to church, minding her business, walking up the stairs, inches away from the door of the church, and this animal, 16 years old, with a long rap sheet, 16 years old, runs around the front of her and pushes her. She goes up in the air, flying in the air, down about 5 stairs, crashing to the concrete, hitting her back and her head.
It's terrible.
And so the question I have for you is, what was he doing on the street, even though he's a minor?
Look, first of all, he's a minor. Second of all, we don't lock every single person we arrest up. Maybe we should. Maybe we should invest. We had
8 arrests. We had 8 arrests.
Listen,
at age 16.
We had over incarceration in this city. Maybe we need to do a little more. I'm not saying that we don't. I'm saying that to somehow take these cases that are on the front page of the paper and treat them as if they're endemic of something larger is sometimes not the case.
But it is endemic of something larger. We got to take a break. But it is endemic of something larger.
Well,
a much bigger problem where Democrats are tolerating crime.
I will give you the last word. You see, I'm a changed man. When we come back, we're going to talk about a trial that is going to happen for Donald Trump and Joe Biden trying to buy off people that have student loans. When we come back on Left versus Right. So welcome back to the new and improved Left versus Right. I say that because I'm Anthony Weiner. Dominic Carter is here. If you are watching on YouTube, we've got a new set. We're now facing each other, more combative.
Yes.
I think it's a little better for us. We were getting too comfortable in those comfy chairs.
This is true.
But also it's better because I have been told to take decaf before the show begins, and already the evidence is showing. Well, we're not going to be calm about this one because I've already heard the talk about this, but let me set it up for our listeners.
Okay.
So Joe Biden, after having it struck down in the court one way of doing student loan debt forgiveness, has now found little ways in the law that he's allowed to do 3 steps, what's the expression, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Another round this week, just 2 days ago, another $7.4 billion of debt relief, 277,000 people. This is now a total of $153 billion of debt relief. 4.3 million people will be let go from their obligations to pay back their student loans. I mean, how can you possibly be against someone, instead of paying a student loan, can now go to the neighborhood car shop and get a new set of tires or something like that? Isn't that better for the economy?
Okay, I'm going to do an Anthony Weiner. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it.
That's just the rundown. You're not hurting anyone.
I'm going to do it because I can't believe what you just said. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it, okay? I just ripped it up. Are you serious with what you just said?
Yes.
Or are you just,
I think this is great.
Or are you just provoking?
You want me to go first? You can go first if you want.
No, wait. Are you serious, Mr. Weiner?
About that this is a great thing? Not only do I think that, but a lot of families around the country are benefiting from it.
Okay, so you and I are both proud graduates of the State University of New York.
Go Plattsburgh State.
Plattsburgh State, Cortland.
There you go.
I went to grad school at Syracuse. Plenty of loans at grad school, loans, undergrad. I'm sure you had the
We
same
had
thing.
loans too, like a really high percent, like 9%, but they're all paid back by now. Thank God.
Okay, so you paid back your loans.
Correct.
You and your family. I paid back my loans, me and my family, right? So why should we be responsible for people that in some cases have made very bad financial decisions as to their selection of what college to attend? Why should the taxpayer be on the hook for that?
Well, I guess, look, why should taxpayers be on the hook for agriculture payments? Why should they be on the hook to payments to transportation contractors or energy companies? We all the time in the government try to figure out how we can help policies along. This is a Democratic policy. We believe in the middle class and those struggling to make it should get a break. And let's remember something else. Here's something very different about when you and I went to college.
Okay.
We have drastically cut what the government puts into education, to higher education. We don't have the programs we had. And so these people had to take a loan. We made a deal with them.
Right.
We said, look, your path to the middle class is to go to college. Now they're in college and they're saddled with all this debt. Democrats believe we want to help the middle class out. Okay? These aren't rich people.
So what did the Supreme Court rule?
The Supreme Court ruled that the HEROES Act doesn't let you do it. But this is a whole different set of laws.
Right. And so the Biden administration comes back and finds ways to undercut what the Supreme Court did.
No. The Supreme Court just said you can't use the HEROES Act. The HEROES Act was from the days of 9/11 that said you can take, in emergency times, you can make changes to laws to accommodate it. They said that was not intended to be used for this purpose. Biden went back to the drawing board. We have all kinds of education programs. Listen, we, the taxpayer, back up these loans. Okay?
And so I guess it has nothing to do with a date called November
100% does. He's doing what his constituents. He said he was going to do this when he campaigned.
Okay, but Mr. Weiner, you don't see how it's unfair. I know you know that there are some people that did not go to college simply because their family couldn't afford it.
Well, that's a shame, frankly. That's a shame.
But there are people like that out there. And so now they're on the hook for people. Now, these for-profit schools that were nothing but scam.
No.
Some of these.
You mean like Trump University? No.
No. Here we go. So these for-profit schools, right, that robbed people, right? So these students made bad decisions.
No. That's not where these kids. These are just run-of-the-mill loans. These are things like people who went into the healthcare professions, people who went into teaching, people who went into law enforcement. There are all of these laws that allow the federal government, which owns the note on this thing, to say we're going to relieve you from this burden. By the way, think about
and who's paying for that?
Well, this is money that would have returned to the taxpayer. This costs the taxpayer.
So the taxpayer's paying for this.
Correct, and it's going back to taxpayers. There's like a tax break for people who went to college. That's the way you can look at it.
A tax break?
It's a tax break for people who went to college, yes.
All I know.
Why are you against that?
If I'm somebody that didn't go to college because my family couldn't, let me finish, because my family couldn't afford it, and now I'm on the hooks, this is almost as bad.
Let me ask you something.
This is almost as bad as reparations.
Okay, so maybe people who went to college on the GI Bill, like my late father, you don't think they should have gotten it either?
No, that's different.
Why?
That's different.
Why?
Because your father fought for this country.
Yeah, but my father
represented this country.
I understand, but my father also, that was an instance where we, the taxpayers, said, you know what, this is a good thing to give this group of people a college education when they come back from the war, because it's good for America. It helped us grow.
Right.
This is good for America, too. No. Why don't you listen, I don't hear you complaining about tax breaks for oil companies, and yet college graduates get a tax break, and you're all upset about it.
Well,
this is the problem with Republicans. No. You guys root for big business, but when a middle-class guy tries to get some money, you're like, oh, no, don't do it.
Who creates the jobs?
Who do you think? Where do you think these graduates are going to spend the money? It's going to go to banks otherwise. It's going to go to the government.
First of all, you're making an assumption that they're all graduates. They're not all graduates. These people, some of these people should have never have gone to college to begin with, if we're being honest, because they did not have the ability.
But they're not rich people. Do we agree with that? They're middle-class people struggling to make it into the middle class.
Okay, but
we made a deal with that, and now instead of paying banks and instead of paying the federal government, they're going to take that money and maybe they'll go in and buy a new car. Maybe they'll go and invest in a business. This is what Democrats believe in.
Or maybe they'll make another bad decision, like they did with going to school.
You never asked that when we give Jeff Bezos a tax cut. You never asked that when we give Exxon a tax cut. But now middle-class Americans are getting a tax cut. Republicans are up in arms. You know why Republicans are up in arms? Because they work for big business, not the regular American.
And who do Democrats work for?
Regular Americans who are going to get this. If you're getting
so Democrats work for regular Americans?
If you're getting a $4,000...
So you said Democrats work for regular
Americans?
Americans.
Who do you think is getting student loans?
So let Democrats pay for it.
We are.
No. Taxpayers are paying
Joe
for it.
Biden got elected promising to give us debt relief for this, as much as he could under his control. Now, there are 4.3 million Americans who have more money in their pocket. That's called what Democrats believe in. You want to take that money and what? Give it to ExxonMobil?
No.
Who do you want to give it to?
No.
By the way, Donald Trump and the rich people that you represent, they don't need a student loan. They get money by ripping it off the old-fashioned way. These are regular Americans who are getting this break. Joe Biden stands up for regular Americans trying to make it. We told these people get a college education. We get the American dream. Now we're helping them.
All right. So, first of all, I would venture to say some of them, at least 50%, did not graduate. So
That's definitely not true. A lot of these people have been out of college for years.
So there goes a lot of people at these for-profit schools did not graduate.
Overwhelmingly, they're not for-profit. They're regular Americans, Dominic. You keep making it. They went to become teachers. They went to become healthcare workers.
So the Democratic way, right?
Exactly.
Let's relieve all the student debt. Let's give African Americans all the reparations they want. Hey, you don't want to pay taxes? As someone said the other day, you don't have to pay taxes.
Well, you mean if you're General Electric. You mean if you're Jeff Bezos. You mean if you're Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, by the way, about Donald Trump paying $700 in taxes when he claimed to be a billionaire. Listen, here's the difference between Democrat and Republicans right here in this conversation.
Oh, boy.
In this conversation, we're seeing who you stand up for, who you go to bat for, is the rich people who don't pay any taxes. Who I stand up for, who Joe Biden stands up for, are people who invested to get a college education. And by the way, now they're going to take that money that they're not going to be paying for their student loan, the interest rates that they never anticipated, or even if they did, now they're going to be out from under it. It's good for America when they have more money in their pocket to invest.
So do me a favor. Address the person watching and listening to us right now that says, I couldn't even afford to go to community college because my family couldn't afford it, and now I've got to pay for somebody that made a bad decision.
You know who said that? The senator from Kentucky, McConnell. We went back and looked at what he paid when he was at Kentucky. It was like $1,000 a year. Now it's like $30,000 a year. We've been jacking up what it takes to make the American dream, and Democrats say that's not fair. We want to try to make it a little bit better. It's way different than it was when you and I both came from middle-class backgrounds. You actually lower middle class, if that. I came from a middle-class background. My mom was a school teacher, okay? We took out a loan. It was high then because I was in the Carter administration, down 9%. But the fact was it was $3,000 or $4,000 of tuition. Now it's $30,000 of tuition. What we're doing to students today is shafting them. We're saying the only way to get ahead is to take out a loan, and then we're going to stick you with these exorbitant rates. Well, you know who's coming to their rescue? Joe Biden, and I'll give you the last word.
No, the last word is this. The only reason why the Biden administration is doing this is it's trying to buy votes for the November election. By the way, let me just ask you this question. I want to see if
now I'm going to get the last word, but go ahead.
So I want to ask you this. Why is Trump ahead in the polls? And nationally and in state?
It's within 1 or 2 points. It was a poll that came out.
Okay, wait.
It's between 1 or 2 points.
Wait. You know how you are about facts. Yeah. So it's undisputable.
No, it's not. The average of the polls, is basically 1% or something.
Okay, but he's still ahead.
That's 1% is you
okay.
Basically, it's tied. It's tied.
Okay, listen. First of all, it's not 1%, but in state-to-state matchups. And
at the break, I will give you the average of the polls. I can look it up easily enough. At the break, we can do that and come back. It's basically 1 or 2 points.
Okay, but so why is he ahead? Let's say I want you to look it up in the break.
Because it's terrible to be an incumbent, and the economy is still not full.
It has nothing to do with Biden policies. It has nothing to do with that.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that are not going to vote for Joe Biden in 1,000 years. It was, he won last time. He's going to win again.
Why is Biden hemorrhaging support from black men? Let me ask you something.
Can I ask you?
Why is Biden hemorrhaging support from black?
It's either the polls are wrong or something very dramatic has happened, and I don't know which one.
It's not because Trump may be resonating with minorities?
Could be. We'll find out on Election Day. What's the point of speculating?
The point is that you don't want to focus on
You keep saying Democrats are doing everything for minorities, so we're obviously not doing it right.
No. What's going on is that people can see for themselves. And they're starting to see that Democrats may not, first of all, from crime to the economy, that Democrats may not have their best interests at heart.
Listen, we can talk to pollsters who are blue in the face. Pretty soon we're going to have an election, right? And we're going to find out.
Right? Okay. So I want you to look that up in the break. And
fine.
You said that...
I will look up to the average of the polls. We'll go to 538 or whatever it is, see what the average of the polls is.
Okay.
All right. Let's try to get one more issue in before we go to the break.
Okay.
Finally, after all the talk about it, a Trump trial. 13 times he tried to have it delayed. It looks like not tomorrow, Monday, there is going to be a jury selection. Trump stands trial for 34 counts of falsifying business records for trying to cover up something from 2016. Finally, he's going to get to clear his name. You must be very happy.
I'm not happy because it's a complete joke, and he should not be on trial for this. There's a reason why Cy Vance passed on this case. There's a reason why this type of case hasn't been brought before. It is disgusting that for the first time, a president of the United States, a former president, is going to face a criminal trial and on this nonsense.
Has anyone ever tried to hush up something to get themselves elected? Has that ever happened before? I don't know.
You know, like I know, that it's probably happened 1,000,001 times before.
Really? I think we would probably look.
I would venture to say it happens. And first of all, there's no proof that what he did is criminal. You know,
that's what's going to be the trial. You have a trial for that.
But again,
and 12 people that Donald Trump chooses are going to get to decide.
Right, in an overly stacked New York City Democratic area.
No, come on. Donald Trump he can object to as many jurors as he wants. Okay. And all he needs is one. Okay. Hey, listen, I don't know if he's going to get convicted of this. Okay. But he keeps saying he wants to clear his name. Okay. Surely you want him to clear his name. Okay. Let's clear his name.
Okay, but explain to me why others have passed on this same case with Trump. Why is that?
I don't know.
Why do you think?
Maybe because they're Democrats. Democratic Cy Vance, you mean?
Yes.
Maybe it was Democratic Cy Vance, or maybe they didn't have the information before. Look, all I know is I keep hearing Donald Trump say two things. One, I want to clear my name, and I didn't do it. And the other is, please don't put me on trial. Please don't put me on trial. Come on. The guy doesn't want to go on trial because he knows we're going to learn that he paid hush money. Imagine if it was the other way. Imagine, pick a name, 2016, Hillary Clinton paid someone to cover up the Hunter Biden laptop.
First of all,
that would be illegal, wouldn't it?
First of all, you know, Mr. Weiner, at best, this was a clerical error in terms of filing. How the money.
Let's see what the witnesses say.
And it's a
Clara, come on.
It's a contention.
We've heard the tapes, man.
It's a contention that is open to interpretation. And at the end of the day, the former president of the United States should not be on trial.
Wait a minute. At the end of the day, a former president of the United States has nothing to do with this. You've already said in previous episodes, everyone gets covered by the law, including former presidents. Look, at the end of the day means at the end of the trial. So do you think he wins the trial?
That's without a doubt.
Okay. Let's see. In that case, don't you think that would be amazing for him to be cleared of these charges?
It'll be a hung jury, or he will outright be. But that's not the
great
point.
For him, no?
But that's not the point. That's not the point. Okay, so you got both of the man's hands tied behind his back.
In what way?
You've got him hogtied.
In what way?
Do you want to blindfold him as well?
In what way is he hogtied? He's got more money. I keep hearing he's got more money than God. He's got the best lawyers in America.
Okay, because what about the fact that he can't be on the campaign trail because the only day the trial does not exist is on Wednesday.
The guy's on the golf course every day anyway. Oh, yeah, on the campaign trail.
Oh, he's not on the golf. He doesn't campaign.
Let me ask you something. Would it be great for him politically, just politically now, if he beats this rap?
Of course.
Okay, so what's the problem having a trial then?
Can you answer the same question? What does it mean if he beats this rap?
I think it'd be great for him.
Oh, can you elaborate a little bit?
I think it'll let him to go out and say, I'm innocent, like he did with the Mueller report, even though he wasn't. Let's go to a break. When we come back, we have plenty more to do here on the Left versus Right. Dominic Carter, Anthony Weiner. We're going to come back and figure out a way to work O.J. Simpson's name into this conversation. So welcome back to Left versus Right. On the left, Anthony Weiner. On the right, Dominic Carter. You can reach me on WABC@gmail.com. Dominic, you're at Dominic TV.
Yes.
On Twitter. On Twitter, and you can listen to Dominic to start your day every day at midnight, every weekday.
Thank you for that.
And you can catch me. You just heard me, hopefully, from 2 to 4. And this show is also available as a podcast and increasingly available as a YouTube video that comes out probably tonight sometime. So I can't find the average. Let me read you the last 3 or 4 polls so we can see. Active vote, Trump 44, Biden 21, Kennedy 15. YouGov, Trump 43, Biden 42, 1 point. Ipsos, Biden 37, Trump 36. When you take out Kennedy, it's Biden 41, Trump 37. Morning Consult, is Biden 43, Trump 44. It's a 1-point race. It's going to be very close, but I just wanted to make sure to put a pin on that one. So just
so the next week I'll pull up my polls.
No, I'm just reading. I'm reading them from the top to the bottom. These aren't mine. This is 538. They just report the polls.
Okay.
But polls are polls. Listen, this is going to be close right to the end, and then I think that we have one thing that we know is that Joe Biden beat him last time pretty handily. That's the one thing we know.
What we know from the last time is Joe Biden did a rope-a-dope running the president of the United States, a campaign from his basement in Delaware, and it was a total referendum on Trump. And so this time, hopefully, the referendum will be on Biden.
Maybe.
And if the referendum is on Biden, Democrats love crime, the economy. We can go down the list.
Well, let's start with
abortion.
Let's start with the number 2 issue on the list. Economy is always number 1, but now number 2 of the bullet is immigration, and the Republicans figuring out a way to keep immigration in the mix. Donald Trump invites the Speaker of the House, Johnson, to come down to Mar-a-Lago to get on the same page. They are bound and determined to relitigate whether the 2020 election was stolen. Was it stolen?
No.
And they should have shut up about it. But they did have an issue that I think they're saying. Here,
Trump has every right to feel that it was stolen. And if he feels it's stolen, he has every right to articulate his case.
That's right. I mean, the courts have articulated their case, and the people of the country have articulated theirs. But they did come up with an issue. They said they're going to make sure that no non-citizens vote. There's only one problem. Non-citizens are not allowed to vote. This is just demagoguery, just trying to make people not like foreigners again. But non-citizens can't vote in this country. What is this all about?
What it's about, Mr. Weiner, is that you're acting like they didn't already try it in New York City and the court struck it down. You're acting like Democrats in New York City literally had it where
in municipal elections.
Right, in municipal elections. So let's not pretend.
And
like
they did say they couldn't just be undocumented, but they were people that were not citizens but were here legally.
Okay, but let's not pretend that, for lack of a better term, that's a Democrat's wet dream in terms of having immigrants, illegal aliens, being able to vote.
Let me ask you something here. I keep hearing how all these people that are coming over are going to vote Democratic. Why do you think that is?
Well, because you're giving them everything
because
they want.
Hispanics have increased.
Because you're giving them freebies. You're
but
giving
Hispanics,
them good. Hey, look, they attack the police, and Democrats say we're not going to do anything.
But hold on, but
don't touch
the
them.
Hispanics
Don't touch them.
The Hispanics that have come here up to now have not voted overwhelmingly Democratic. In fact, one of the reasons the Democrats, can't flip Texas is the more Hispanics that are coming into Texas, the more conservative it seems to be. It just doesn't add up. Why are you so sure that your policies are so bad that Hispanics aren't going to like them?
So why, and I shouldn't answer with a rhetorical question, but why are you determined to let all these illegal aliens in the country?
I am not. I'm the one who believes in passing laws to make it tougher. You're the one that says don't pass any new laws. I don't want to go back to that, but if you want to, I will. I believe in toughening the laws, and that's why 70 people in the Senate, including Democrats and Republicans, voted for the compromise. And
Here we go with this compromise.
And Donald Trump told his monkeys in the House, "Don't vote for it."
Oh, second
but
time.
But let me ask you, the non-vote.
You used monkeys before.
I know that's all they are is trained.
So
how about this? The trained performing seals in the House of Representatives won't put it up to a vote. That's all I say.
So what do they do?
More or less.
So what do Democrats do?
Democrats vote their conscience.
Under Biden,
they vote their conscience.
Okay, I will.
By the way, let's see how the vote goes in the House. I bet you a lot of Democrats will vote against it.
Okay,
I'm not saying they won't, but overwhelmingly, I think Democrats and Republicans will vote for it.
Just do me a favor on this one.
Sure.
This 68-year-old lady that's not doing well, right? And this animal, this kid, 16 years old.
Was he an immigrant?
No. Just
wait a minute. You're kidding me.
Wait.
Crime not by an immigrant? Dominic, wherever did you find a criminal who's not an immigrant? How did you do that trick?
This 16-year-old animal.
Who's not an immigrant.
And his mother, I guess, should get Mother of the Year award, right?
I don't know. No idea who his mother is.
This kid has been robbing people, 8 arrests.
Is he an immigrant?
Now, wait, I'll come back to immigrants, but this just because Democrats say you commit the crime, come out.
I don't know. No one's saying that.
So how do you have 8 arrests at age 16? How is that?
By the way, the juvenile system, you usually don't lock up juveniles. And I have no idea what his. By the way, I'm curious how his rap sheet. I'm curious how you know his rap sheet is. He's been a minor. I think it's terrible. I think the guy should go to prison. He's locked up right now. Can we go back to immigration?
Yeah, but
by the way, you're making a good point. that overwhelmingly, crimes are not committed by undocumented people. First, people who are born here are more likely to be criminals than people who are not, according to people who arrested. According to the FBI and the police, they say it's people who are here. But getting back to immigration,
just say Lake and Riley. But go ahead.
I mean, you can refresh everyone's memory. Go ahead if you want to.
No.
But here it is. So Trump wants to make.
She's only been 6 feet underground at age 22 for the last month because one of these alleged animals that should not have been in the country.
You see Donald Trump
that should not have been in the country.
Signed a picture for her and got his name wrong. Didn't you flip out when Joe Biden got her name wrong? But we don't flip out when Donald Trump gets her name wrong.
The mother of Lake and Riley wanted to meet with Trump, refused to meet with Biden.
More power to her.
Would not attend the State of the Union address. Officer Diller's family invited Trump to the wake, wanted nothing to do with
More power
Biden.
to her. Apparently, he had a conversation with Miss Garcia, that victim, and learned all about her and lied about having that conversation, that he never spoke to her family, that woman Garcia. Nevi Garcia said her sister's family never heard from Donald Trump, even though he was up saying that what a nice woman she was. I spoke to her family. That's a lie. You shouldn't do that.
Well, I can only tell you what I know for sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm telling you what the victim's family said. Listen, you want to talk about things like that? That's fine. But the real issues are the Donald Trump and Speaker Johnson are trying to make an issue where there isn't one, and that
there is an issue.
Look. If you don't want non-citizens to vote, congratulations. You live in a country where they can't vote.
Okay, so what happened?
You're trying to scare people.
What happened?
Our listeners are too smart for that.
What happened at the Ramada Inn in Yonkers, right? Yet again, police.
Let me guess. It was something that made the front page of the Post, but go ahead.
No. First of all, it made all the other television newscasts before it made the Post.
I'm a radio guy. Only listen to radio, Dominic.
Before it made the Post and the Daily News.
Was it a horrible crime?
How about
I'm against it.
Well, if you're attacking a police officer, it's a horrible crime.
Yes.
Especially if 100%. You're not supposed to be here.
Like,
so Trump and Speaker Johnson are trying to do the right thing. The fact of the matter is...
But they're trying to fix a problem we don't have. They're trying to distract the American people.
No,
the American people are not stupid.
It's not about distracting the American people. Democrats are letting in illegal aliens and saying, here, you want a place to stay? Here. Oh, your girlfriend's pregnant? Your child can be born an American citizen.
No, that's the Constitution.
Okay, well, you can call it whatever you want.
I know that's the way you view the Constitution. Call it whatever you want. To me, it's a pretty important document. I know I know your cult leader doesn't believe that. That's why he's going to be on trial for trying to stop the free transfer of power and he tried to overturn the results of an election. The Constitution's not really big for your party. I get that.
But you're calling Trump a cult leader when Biden is ignoring the will of the Supreme Court and taking taxpayer dollars as election year.
No, I'm talking about the people that follow Donald Trump and believe the crazy things he says is a cult.
Goodies to have Democrats vote for him.
Yeah, good policies are election year goodies. But he's not trying to overturn the government, is he?
Okay, but you still didn't answer my question.
Which one is that?
Why black males are starting to abandon Biden. You didn't answer that one.
Listen, there is something going on in the polls with young people. There's something going on, and also an overwhelming number of older people are supporting Biden. Something is going on in the polls that's different from the last time, but I will believe it when I see it. I just don't believe we're going to go from 8% for Biden to 19 or 20 like it says the polls are. So that's why polls, to our conversation, I mean, we can argue about why polls are polls. I'm more interested in the substance of these debates. We're a substance show here. We do facts and information. Your cult leader tries to overturn the government. My leader, Joe Biden, he wants to give tax breaks to people that went to college. Which side are you on?
I'm on the side of we're responsible for our personal decisions. If you decided to enroll in school and took out a student loan, you're on the hook for that. The taxpayer should not be. It's not fair. If you happen to be African American and you believe in this reparations thing, which is not going to help.
We can do reparations. You want to do reparations?
No, we can do whatever you want. But I'm just saying that
you say personal decisions. These people were made decisions that we in the American dream always encourage people to go to school, get higher education, make yourself part of the economy, and then we say we're not going to help you out. We're going to rip you off by charging you high interest rates. We're going to give you a break now. For once, can't the middle class get a break? Why does it always have to be your rich friends that get the break?
So why is it, Mr. Weiner, that other American presidents have not followed Mr. Biden's path?
Because interest rates are higher than they were, because it's holding more and more people back. All the time, presidents campaign on things that the other guy didn't think to do. By the way, Donald Trump had it within his power to do this, and he didn't do it. You know what other kinds of things that he did?
First of all,
he gave tax cuts to millionaires and billionaires.
First of all, you shouldn't say that. You really shouldn't go down that road.
Which one?
Because Donald Trump did more for historical black colleges than Obama did.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Than Obama did.
Let me ask you something. Did he give tax cuts to millionaires and billionaires?
Yes.
Did that help anyone who's paying a student loan?
Time out.
Go ahead.
See how I'm honest? I said yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Did that help?
And
did that help people?
It trickles down.
Did it now?
It trickles down.
It trickles down. So people that had a student loan out, did they get anything from Donald Trump? They're getting it from Joe Biden.
But Trump did more for black colleges than even Obama.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
I mean,
he
listen,
did, financially.
His policies were all about squeezing the middle class and giving money to wealthy people because, as you say, it trickles down. I'm surprised you're still using it. That branding has gone out.
So if that's the case, why does Trump resonate so well?
It is. I think there is something going on, and I've repeated this several times. There is something going on with African Americans and younger voters turning on Joe Biden, and there's something going on with older voters who had been voting Republican now saying that they support Joe Biden. Maybe something is happening in the electorate. Let's find out. I'm here to argue. I'm here to argue for the middle class and those struggling to make it. You're arguing for the wealthy.
No,
that's all Americans need to know.
I'm arguing for what's right. I'm arguing for the American way. And so I guess all that argument, you didn't make the case, but all of that argument about Trump as a racist and black men are turning to him now. I've been saying this for years.
Well, he is an anti-Semite. You want to talk about the things he said this week about Jews?
You go ahead. You want to do it? Let's do it.
He's saying that Jews should be getting a talking to if they don't support him. He's saying that he's sitting down with Fuentes. He's sitting down with Kanye.
You don't want to go down that road.
Tell me why.
You don't want to go down that road.
I'm worried on the road.
Remember right here in New York,
he's on down the road.
I like that. Remember right here in New York, Biden goes on the black radio station and says, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Remember that one?
Well, I got to tell you,
Remember that one?
Well, I don't know if that was racism or him saying that for all I've done for African Americans, he was the vice president for the first African American president.
And what does that mean?
Well, I think what he was saying is if you don't think that I'm good for blacks, ask the icon of Barack Obama. He thought I was really good.
Okay, no. What it says is Obama wanted to get elected, and he felt that I was the best one,
yes.
ticket-wise.
That's what he's saying. That's what he was saying to the black community.
What about the president's past with KKK leaders and so on, going back many years?
He was against busing. There's so many white political officials who are against busing. He wasn't in favor of segregation.
What about the eulogy?
By the way, his record on busing. It's problematic. A lot of people are against busing.
Wait. A
lot of your heroes were against busing.
Wait a minute. What? Sanford and Son. Right?
How about
Sanford and Son.
Wasn't Ronald Reagan against busing?
Sanford and Son. Elizabeth, I'm about to come join you on a heart attack. Wait,
Elizabeth. This is the big one.
This is the big one. Because Anthony Weiner just mildly, gently, possibly criticized President Biden.
Correct.
I don't.
His record in the 1960s on busing. A lot of people.
I don't.
A lot of people were against busing. But I'm talking about today.
There is hope.
Let me ask you something.
There is hope, man.
Former President Trump have sat down with this guy Fuentes, who's a white nationalist anti-Semite?
Of course not.
Of course not.
But
why doesn't he just apologize for it?
Okay. Well, and some people respect the fact that he doesn't apologize.
Well, do you? Should he have sat down with Kanye? These guys are disgusting.
No, he should have sat down. Trump. See, what a lot of people don't understand, Trump sits down with basically
No, Trump said I didn't know who they were.
He said, right, that's
Come
what
on.
he said.
He's that dumb? Your guy can't be that dumb.
No,
I mean, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. We get that. And by the way, his saying dumb things, his such dumb things are well within the record.
And we're wrapping up. But if you want to talk about these little sideshows, Hillary going on the black radio station, I got hot sauce in my bag, and then Biden on the same station saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
I don't know.
So these black men that are abandoning him now,
white politicians campaigning for the black vote, it's always a little bit awkward, but I will say this. I'd much rather them go on and try to pander on the Breakfast Club or whatever that's called than sitting down with Kanye and Fuentes, who are avowed anti-Semites. But before we wrap up, any final words for the death of O.J. Simpson? You actually covered that as a reporter, didn't you?
Yes. I don't see why he was idolized by some. I don't feel that he should have been a folk hero for the black community.
You know what it tells me? It tells me something that's still true today. If you're wealthy it trumps everything else. You can trump the American justice system just like Donald Trump is doing with his lawyers today.
And just like President Biden is giving away all the taxpayer money to cover student loans.
That has nothing to do with the criminal justice system.
Like
but I mean, I guess that is something that is happening. I don't have anything great to say about O.J. Simpson either. It does show you, though, there is another parallel. A bunch of African Americans who ignore the evidence and
they ignored
hold
the
on,
evidence. Okay,
right, and insisted that someone didn't do something we all know he did. Reminds me a little of Donald Trump supporters ignoring the evidence for something that we know he did because we just couldn't bear the truth about our guy.
The great thing about our country, Americans are starting to wake up. President Biden is in deep, deep, deep trouble.
You may think that, but we're going to be here every week of the way. Dominic Carter on your right, Anthony Weiner on the left, but we call it left versus right, and we'll see you next week if we both survive.